What's up guys, it's Pliskin here today, and I think I've managed to piece together some of the hints given to us throughout Metal Gear Solid 5 concerning what could have been in Chapter 3. Now I want to make this clear, it's not a conspiracy theory video or something that's really going to be pulling at strings. However, I've been thinking about the game and reviewing certain parts of it, and I really think there's a lot that's given away, specifically in Chapter 2. And I think that a lot of our assumptions of Chapter 3 might be wrong, and I want to talk about that here today. So the idea for this video came when I was lying awake in bed last night, and I was thinking about one scene that I've often skipped or never really thought much of. So let's go ahead and all together now take a look at this inconspicuous scene that plays randomly when you're returning to Mother Base.
Hey! Eyes on Kazuhira. A message from the parasites.
And it was at that moment that I was like, damn, that's probably what Chapter 3 would have entailed. I kept on repeating that phrase in my head, eyes on Kazuhira. Throughout the game, suspicion surrounding Kaz comes up. He's always the one pointing the finger at other people. Ocelot even makes mention that like he's being ridiculous and starts saying, what if I'm the spy? What if it's you? All this kind of stuff. It's clear that there's someone in there, and it's clear that Mother Base is filled with people, you know, attacking it from the inside. If anything, that's what Chapter 2 is all about. It's not necessarily about race, it's about Huey backstabbing you. It's about Eli attacking you from within, and how Venom Snake and co. deal with all of this. In fact, when we start taking in mind that Chapter 3, or better yet, Metal Gear Solid 5, is supposed to bridge the gap between the Big Boss era and Solid Snake era, leading up to the first Metal Gear game where Solid Snake infiltrates Outer Heaven and takes down Venom Snake, we kind of start being able to put the pieces together here. The common assumption is that the whole big fight with Sahelanthropus and Eli and the kids on that weird infected island was supposed to be the giant climax of Chapter 3. I don't think so, looking at it like this now. Looking at Metal Gear Solid 5 specifically as a link between Big Boss and Solid Snake era games, I think the Liquid Snake boss fight on that island was supposed to be the climatic end of Chapter 2. Because it keeps within the theme of Venom having to fight, you know, threats from within, and now that at this point here, Huey's already been dealt with, the whole Quiet thing has probably happened, she's probably gone and dead, so there's no internal turmoil anymore except for everything that was left off with Eli. So this kind of seems like the situation where that would get wrapped up. It's also important and also makes sense as the end of Chapter 2 because this is the first time that Venom Snake comes into direct conflict with Cypher. Up until this point, MSF and Diamond Dogs have been fighting, not Cypher specifically, but Skullface and XOF. There's actually a mission in Chapter 2 where you have to get these materials containers before a Cypher chopper gets there because you're not allowed to shoot the Cypher chopper. Ocelot says the time will come to fight Cypher, but this isn't it, implying that you guys aren't ready and you can't start that all-out war. However, this Liquid Snake boss fight on this island would have been probably that catalyst, that point where Diamond Dogs and Cypher actually open fire on each other. And you see this explicitly happen when Venom Snake himself shoots down multiple Cypher agents as they're trying to execute Eli. So this would have been it. This would have been all out war, which probably would have opened up chapter 3, which is ironically called Peace. Ironically, because this was probably where you'd actually start fighting Cypher, and it's also ironic because, you know, you're playing as Big Boss, a warmonger. So before moving further on into chapter 3 and talking about that, I just want to take a quick note to say this is also probably where that one scene from that 2014 trailer, where Venom Snake is walking through a burnt, crisp battlefield and screaming in agony because he's like suffering. Because, you know, every time in the game, whenever Venom does something that's morally wrong, or he kills people that aren't necessarily direct combatants, for example, his own men in the quarantine zone, or now in this case, the children, because if you notice in the cutscene here in the special edition where it shows like this almost finished footage, they don't take the kids with them when they're hopping on the chopper. The kids run off as the Sahelanthropus fight starts, and then they sanitize the island, which means they essentially burn it all to a crisp. So the fact that the corpses are burnt, the fact that they look very reminiscent of the children, and the fact that Venom shows remorse in this trailer goes to show that this climatic end of chapter 2 would have been where we saw that one scene where he's walking through the burnt remains of everything he's just destroyed, and he just has another one of those moments where he's just like, so that's probably how chapter 2 would have ended. Venom originally coming there to try to save the kids, getting into that fight, starting the war with Cypher, and then walking through everything he's just destroyed. Trying to, you know, failing to drive this demon out of him, as he says in that one nuclear disarmament ending. And he failed to do so, and he's just suffering for it. Screen fades to black, and that would be the end of chapter 2. So now that we clarified exactly why I don't think that that whole Liquid Snake boss fight was the big chapter 3 reveal that we were all waiting for, let's talk more so what I think would have actually happened in chapter 3. Going back to that Code Talker cutscene, it really connects Kaz's whole story arc, because if you take this back to Peace Walker, Kaz was the one that had backdoor dealings with Cypher and got Big Boss involved in this whole debacle, because Kaz has always done things his own way, even if it means betraying people. He betrayed Big Boss's trust when he was talking with Cypher, even if in his own mind he justified it as, oh no, but I'm doing this for our vision. It's clear by the end of Peace Walker that Big Boss's vision and Kaz's vision for what they want MSF or Diamond Dogs or Outer Heaven to be are two very different things. Big Boss is in every sense of the word a warmonger. We see him become that at the end of Peace Walker with his denial of the original boss's ideals. Kaz isn't so much a warmonger as he is, well, he's still a warmonger, but he's more so on the business side. He actually wants to start MSF as like kind of what we have in the real world with modern day private security contractors, whereas Big Boss wants to start World War III Eternal. He wants to build up to that. He doesn't see himself or soldiers being thrown aside if war is always happening. So Kaz and Big Boss have these two different visions that can't coexist, even though they try to. And this is why Big Boss doesn't even deal with Kaz and Phantom Pain. He's off making his own thing, and it's Venom Snake that's there with Kaz doing that whole big thing to be the distraction for Cypher that Big Boss actually needs while he creates Outer Heaven in his own image without Kaz hampering him or betraying him. So keeping this all in mind, within Kaz's character, it's completely open, or, well, it's stated towards the end of Phantom Pain where he says, screw Big Boss, I'm going to do my own thing, I'm going to support his sons and this new Big Boss to fight against him. Here's the thing though. Venom Snake might be a different person than Big Boss. He might have his own personality effects that shine through here and there. However, ultimately, he still holds true to Big Boss's mantra. He still believes in Big Boss's vision. And when Kaz and him eventually butt heads over this, I wouldn't be surprised if that's when Kaz splits off. So I feel chapter 3 would have been uncovering Kaz's deception, how he's betraying him, maybe even working with Cypher like he has done in the past. And as all-out war with Cypher that has now been started because of what happened on the island with Eli erupts, this would probably be the breaking point between Venom Snake and Kaz. This would probably be the point where the actual Big Boss would actually show himself, reveal himself to Venom, and this would probably be the point where Venom starts shifting towards actually creating Outer Heaven rather than dealing with this whole Diamond Dogs thing. And the foundation of Outer Heaven, the beginning of the war with Cypher, Venom Snake falling further and further in ways that we don't really know because there's no other footage for it, further and further into his demonic persona till he becomes the warmonger that he is by the first Metal Gear game. That would probably lead us to the conclusion of Metal Gear Solid 5, and that's what I think Chapter 3 is. Finding out that Cause isn't really on your side, having them break apart, founding Outer Heaven, working for the actual big boss, and having some Metal Gear Solid 2-esque moments in which, the same way you were playing as Raiden, you got to experience Solid Snake as a different character, you'd be playing as Venom now and experience Big Boss as a different character. That, then the whole Cypher War, acquiring nukes now, just going back on a lot of the things that you did with Diamond Dogs, like getting rid of nukes if you did that, and all of this other stuff, would bring us right to that point where the chain is linked. That's where Metal Gear Solid 5 connects right into the next one, and that would be the perfect time to give that ending where Venom Snake punches that mirror and walks away into the mist of that blank time where this war with Cypher rages on and he goes into that future where he's inevitably going to fight Solid Snake to the death and lose. And that would be kind of the perfect way to end off Metal Gear Solid 5. The split with Cause, war with Cypher, and the foundation of Outer Heaven. That is what I feel Chapter 3 would have been. So it's not that whole Eli on the island thing, and it's not just more side missions. I feel like if this game had the chance to have continued its development fully, we would have seen all this. And it's all because of that one Code Talker cutscene that I'd normally neglect, but it's such an obvious glaring hint. Anyways, guys, if you enjoyed this, if you think there's any validity in what I'm saying, if you followed with what I'm saying, if you think I'm wrong, if you think I'm right, if you too neglected to take note of this cutscene, let me know down in the comments below, like whatever it is. Let's just talk about this for the sake of having fun. I think we're at a point now, years later, where we're not all feeling the sting of phantom pain, and we can instead just enjoy it for what it is and have some shits and giggles trying to figure out what it would have been. Anyways, guys, this has been Pliskin. Like, subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next video.